That's right. Running in, running in. Yes, good morning Trinidad and Tobago. Jason Williams signing on. And indeed, a heartfelt good morning to you and yours. Very special welcome back to our producer, Nikisha. Took a nice vacation. I think she was somewhere moving with ISHO speed throughout the Caribbean on, on a tour. I don't know. I have no idea, but she's back in one piece and we say welcome home. Let's get the ball rolling because as mentioned, before I head to the Guardian front page, the city, plenty smoke all over the place. So you're gonna see it. From the time you hit maritime, you're gonna recognize something is a bit different. And for those who come over the ramp by NP to get into downtown Port-of-Spain, the air quality is extremely poor. The air quality is poor, the visibility is a bit poor. And you just come into the city and you're saying to yourself, why we have to treat with this so early on a Monday? So whoever is responsible for lighting and for basically making this commute so uncomfortable, better than that, please. And I hope the authorities, because we always talk to the fire service will come and sit and talk with us and speak about the unlawful practices and the breaking of the rules and the fact that we are still in this 2026, lighting debris, and it's just, we can't be doing that. So come on, better than that, all right? Had to just make mention. Let's see what's happening via the news cycle and our front page in the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. And I'm seeing this morning, high praise for police lethal force. This comes on the heels of the deadly Cunupia shootout. Many are saying that the officers are sending a clear and powerful message to criminals. Police officers, they're walking along around the Rhine trees in Cunupia, where police killed 4 men after they invaded the home of a 70-year-old farmer. And of course, as much as I'm sure this will be investigated, and they'll have to obviously do a thorough analysis of the circumstance and what transpired. Many of the citizenry, let's be real this morning, let's be honest, there are many who, there is no more remorse, no more leniency as it pertains to crime and criminality, and they want this kind of brutal action. Now, this can't be obviously the answer because, there are so many different talking points, and we have to consider, well, if indeed the story is indeed what we're being told, if indeed that is the ultimate story. But based on just a video, audio from a video, you were hearing shots left, right, and center. So it really sounded to me like it was a most brutal shootout. And once people shoot at police, not only here in Trinidad and Tobago, any jurisdiction in any part of this place called the world, it could be where on this planet, once people go at police under that kind of order, I think the response from the officers will be what we would have seen here, and the outcome will not be a good one for those on the other side of this particular gun battle. We're talking here for those who are involved in crime and criminality. So not surprised by this development, but there is still that call for the body cams, so there could be full transparency and accountability when it comes to this kind of occurrence. But again, yes, that's a most I would say, most brutal happening over the weekend. 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 criminals taken out based on this story, the gun battle that happened there in Cunupia. I'm also looking at a story here which gives us at least a glimmer of hope when it comes to the justice system, the facilities, the prison. We're seeing here from death row to redemption, ex-convict seeks second chance at life. That story is about former death row inmate Rodney Davis, and it's inside the Guardian on page 9. I implore you to give it a read. It's a most, I would say, heartfelt story, and you get a chance to really get the deeper understanding and why he's asking for this second chance. On the political side of things, Penelope Beckles, opposition leader, fires back at the Prime Minister over Parliament walkout. That story on page 7. As we go to the back page, some cricket and some champions in the cricket. Let's celebrate them this morning. all hands in the air. Your champions, members of the Best Motors Marching Patriots, celebrate their victory over PowerGen Penal Sports Club at the TTCB Premiership Division 50 overs final match. That's what was happening at the Brian Lara Stadium in San Fernando yesterday. Okay, so well done. The Patriots won by 6 wickets. Congratulations, all hands in the air. From celebration to a more somber development here, where you're seeing that Sport TT denies funding for cycling team, and a couple of athletes who would have been preparing for some of the games, in this case the Pan Am Juniors, all right, Pan Am team, some not going because of lack of sponsorship. That story develops more on page 38 inside today's Guardian. Let's see the brief, page 3, and a chance again to get that deeper understanding where TNT stands when it comes to the, freedom access. Now that particular story there, that brief was, I think that would have been like last week, but that was a reminder as to where we stand when it comes to press freedom. And that, when I saw it last week, was a major cause for concern. But I'm seeing here, when it comes to the Jazz, this weekend, Tobago was alive. Now, Point Fortin had their own festivities for all of last week, straight into the weekend. But for those who wanted to take it a little more on the easy side with the music and the festivities, many went to Tobago for the beachfront jazz, and it delivered from what I'm seeing here. Mandalina Grand, the location, I'm seeing Terry Lyons bringing the curtains down on Saturday night, and a picture there also of Dr. Jasmine Gent performing at the beachfront jazz at Mandalina on Saturday. So well done for all those in attendance. There's one thing, we are, when it comes to the variety and music, jazz, chutney soca, right, Latin, well, of course, our Kaiso Pan, it's a musical country. We love our music, and people really into their jazz. Yes, so well done. And for, of course, all who went to Point Fortin for the Juve, for the Shades of Sunset, who went to the all-inclusive last night with the flowers. Was he big one? Good Morning Neighbor. Oh, the brand name iconic events that make Borough so spectacular. We say thank you, and let's, of course, keep the Borough festivities safe, clean, and let's do it bigger and better for 2027. With that, we get ready for the Bourse report. Sarud steps in. A matter of fact, not Sarud this morning, it's Carissa stepping in for Sarud, Carissa Gordon, and she will give us the latest with the movers and shakers when it comes to the big business. The Bourse report, Carissa Gobin, up next.
At Cruise Inn Hotel and Yachting Center, we're all about time. In fact, once you check in, there's no time to lose. Reconnect with a little family time. Make a splash with some pool time. Spend some treasured quality time. Or just immerse yourself in some quiet time. Indulge your senses at dinner time. We even have the perfect venue when it's your celebration time. So it's high time you visit Cruise Inn. Choose our day pass or call 607-4000 to make your dinner or hotel reservations, or to find out more about our event spaces. Take a time out at Cruise Inn Hotel and Yachting Center.
Need to upgrade to a better phone system? Contact the experts at Voice Outsourcing. In office or remote, our phone system allows you to take every call. Grow your bottom line by offering excellent customer service. Call 217-1895 or 628-8182 or email today.
At Modern Caribbean Enterprises Limited, we are making this Mother's Day extra special. Enjoy special discounts, free giveaways, plus $100 off detox spa session. Experience our infrared ultrasonic blanket. Turn back the clock with our LED non-surgical facelift for that natural, radiant glow. Not sure what she loved most? Our gift certificates can let her choose her perfect gift this Mother's Day. Modern Caribbean Enterprises Limited, because every mom deserves to feel beautiful, appreciated, and renewed.
Call 653-0011.
Our connection is reliable, credible, and authentic. Thank you for trusting me to bring you the news. It's a privilege to be in your homes and hearts. With every story and every newscast, CNC3 is keeping you informed and inspired. When it comes to news, we are where you are.
Investment analyst Carissa Gobin will check in right now for the latest installment of the Bourse report. Carissa, good morning.
Good morning and welcome to this week's edition of the Bourse Report. I'm Carissa Gobin, an investment analyst at Bourse, and today we'll be looking at the financial performance of two companies in the manufacturing sector, Unilever Caribbean Limited or UCL and National Flour Mills Limited or NFM for their respective fiscal year periods ending December 31st, 2025. UCL performance was supported by stronger revenues as well as gains associated with restructuring and divestment activities. And meanwhile, NFM experienced lower earnings driven by higher taxation expenses. So firstly, let's move on to Unilever Caribbean Limited or UCL. UCL reported a total earnings per share of $1.63 in fiscal 2025, growing 48.2% year-on-year from $1.10 in fiscal 2024. This total earnings per share reflects contributions from continuing and discontinuing operations. EPS from continuing operations declined 16.7% from 90 cents in fiscal 2024 to a current 75 cents in fiscal 2025. The remaining 88 cents was generated from discontinued operations as the group recognized a one-off gain from divesting its ice cream business and laundry brands. Revenue advanced 14.7% to $196.1 million, and profit before tax declined 15.4% to $29 million. Overall, profit for the period, which includes profit from discontinued and continued operations, advanced 48.6% to $42.8 million in the current period. Taking a closer look at UCL's revenue trend, there has been some volatility over the years, which is the expected outcome given the significant reorganization to UCL's business model over the past few years. Revenue rebounded from fiscal 2024 of $171 million to a current $196 million, growing 14.7% year-on-year. So top-line performance was actually driven by reported growth across all operating segments, with the group's largest segment by revenue, the beauty and personal care segment, growing roughly 16% year-on-year. So going forward, there should be some degree of revenue stabilization, reflecting a more consistent performance across the company. Moving on to UCL's profit margins would have improved steadily from 2021 to 2024, reaching peak levels in 2024 before moderating in 2025. Gross profit margin declined from 49.2% in 2024 to 46.0% in fiscal 2025, driven by faster growth in cost of sales relative to revenue. Operating profit margin similarly was down from 19.6% to 18.7%, and profit before tax margin stood at 14.8%. UCL trades at a price of $13.94 and offers investors a trailing dividend yield of 8.6 times, below the sector average of 10.4 times. So it should be noted that UCL's PE ratio, excluding discontinued operations, currently stands at 18.6 times. It also offers investors a trailing dividend yield of 39.2%, well above the manufacturing sector average of 11.4%. This dividend yield is seen as highly inflated given the special dividends declared over fiscal 2025. This elevated payout to shareholders is largely driven by one-off proceeds from asset sales, particularly from its ice cream business and laundry brands. Going forward, the dividend yield should normalize after the special dividends are accounted for. The recent reorganization of UCL's business model paves the way for more normalized operations, particularly in terms of earnings and dividends going forward. So on the basis of higher revenue and attractive dividend yield and the expectation of normalized performance, Bourse maintains a market rate rating on UCL with a stable outlook for the time being. Moving on to National Flour Mills, or NFM. NFM reported an earnings per share of 36 cents in fiscal 2025, down 5% year-on-year. Revenue increased modestly from $523.4 million to $540.5 million, just up 3.3% year-on-year. Operating profit increased 8.3% to $69.7 million, and overall profit after tax declined 5% from $44.2 million to $42.0 million. This was driven by a 44% increase in the group's taxation expenses. Revenue for NFM rose steadily before declining in fiscal 2024, with a decline of 9.3% to $523.4 million, as UCL would have passed on the benefits of lower input costs to reduce consumer prices. Revenue then rebounded from fiscal 2024 to $540.5 million in fiscal 2025. According to the company, the increase in revenue was supported by the relaunch of its Ibis flour brand and growth in its feeds division. Moving on to NFM profitability margins. So margins would have increased steadily over the years. Gross profit margins grew from 30.8% to 31.2%. Similarly, operating profit margins grew from 12.3% to 12.9%, and profit before tax margin currently stands at 12.8% in fiscal 2025. It remains to be seen whether margins can be sustained given ongoing geopolitical tensions, which have contributed to higher global grain prices year to date. And this could potentially translate into higher input costs for NFM in the fiscal quarters ahead. NFM trades at a price of $1.45 and trades at a trailing PE ratio of 4.1 times, below the manufacturing sector average of 10.4 times. NFM offers a trailing dividend yield to investors of 8.3%, below the sector average of 11.4%. On the basis of modest revenue growth, improved margins but tempered by higher taxation expenses and global economic uncertainties, Bourse maintains a market rate rating on NFM with a watch outlook for the time being. And that brings us to the end of this week's edition of the Bourse Report. For more information, please give us a call at 226-8773 or email us at info@boursefinancial.com. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the Bourse Report.
You just love a cup of Tetley tea right now. Dark, strong British blend to give you a good morning boost. Or Tetley decaf, all of the antioxidants, none of the caffeine. Losing weight or staying healthy your thing? Try Tetley green tea. Get the vitamins to boost your health with Tetley super teas. Or calm down with Tetley chamomile. Wouldn't you just love a cup of Tetley tea right now? Tetley, a tea for everyone.
Love the flavors you get with Tetley, a tea for everyone. Tetley tea.
Distributed by AMCO, a subsidiary of Ansa McCall.
Low energy? Heart concerns? Migraines slowing you down? It's time to take control of your health. Join Wellness Unlocked, the series that brings expert advice and real solutions for a healthier you. In our latest episode, learn how Jameson CoQ10 can help support heart health, boost energy, and even reduce migraines. Get the science, the stories, and the steps to power up your health with CoQ10 Don't miss Wellness Unlocked. Watch now on CNC3 and start your wellness journey today.
Period nights don't have to look like this. Move less, wake up to change. So change for a real night's sleep with Always Overnight. Its 3 times protection system absorbs, locks the fluid, and keeps it away from your skin. For protected nights without leaks. Always.
What a surprise!
Oh, please, be seated.
We were not expecting you. On behalf of the company, I would like to extend to you our heartfelt condolences.
Thank you very much.
This is a very complicated situation.
I have no intention of being dependent on Charisma's handouts because I intend to take full responsibility of running this company.
In Westwood Park, nothing stays hidden for long. Watch the drama unfold. Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. only on CNC3.
Sportsmanship is when an athlete walks off the court and you can't tell if he won or lost because he carries himself with pride either way. This quote is an embodiment of sport, and for me, sport is an embodiment of life. We are where you are.
Get the story first. Want to know what's happening in news, sports, or crime? Get the CNC3 app. As the story breaks, CNC3 is there giving you the story first on your mobile device. Be connected to the most trusted and reliable news source, CNC3. Access your world with just a tap. The CNC3 app. Download it today.
Welcome back. Let's get into a very important discussion as we do some analysis of the political landscape and more so the happenings there within the upper house and the recent, at least the resignation. We have not heard just yet as to if it's accepted, but at least the wheels are turning in that regard as it pertains to opposition Senator Janelle John Bates. And there's a picture here on page 7. And it really speaks to, I would imagine, the monumentous and the weight of this particular decision. She is, of course, head in hands, just sitting there after she would have, moments after her resignation announcement in the Senate last Friday. And I could tell you, just like the guest who's coming on, a former senator, I've also spent just a short stint in the Senate. And while there, my only infraction really was my phone going off and I was put out, and I remember how, I felt so low. And that was just to have, you have to leave the chamber because your phone went off. And I remember feeling so low, and I could only imagine how the senator feels this morning. And I myself would have said in my utterance when dealing with this particular matter that I think the right thing to do was to step aside, and I have to say kudos to her for that level of bravery, for that level of integrity, to recognize that there was clearly a misjudgment, and let me, at least put myself away from all this excitement. And I guess it's really now up to the opposition leader to decide the way forward. Let's bring in David Abdullah, political leader of the MSJ, and also former senator, a man who would have sat there in the upper house, and you understand the workings, as it were, of the Senate. Mr. Abdullah, great to see you. Good morning and welcome.
Morning to all who are tuned in. Thanks for having me this morning.
Your take on the development and more so the resignation there. Again, I'm looking at The Guardian. I don't know if you have a copy. It's at page 7, and you can really see, I guess, the disappointment, the hurt, the mixed emotions, I would imagine, with the senator. You think she would have done the right thing by putting forward her resignation?
Yes, I know I don't have The Guardian yet. If I didn't do this interview this morning, I have done my morning walk, yes. And I would have picked up The Guardian immediately following that, and I'd be reading it now.
But I don't know if some fruit. I don't know if you guys can zoom in, because I'll show you the picture here. The picture really tells the story of you could see, she's really, I would imagine, as I said, I was put out for my phone going off, and honestly, David, I felt so low for just that infraction. So I could only imagine this situation.
Yes, well, of course, I never got put out of the Senate. I did resign in June 2012, but that was of my own volition, and there was a decision of the party for us to leave the partnership at the time. And so, I submitted my resignation directly to the Prime Minister at the time, and then went into the Senate office the following day to hand back, all the documents that I had to, the PBR pass and that kind of thing, and the parking sticker for the Parliament car park. But going to the root of the problem, you said quite correctly, and Senator John Bates did admit that she made a misjudgment, and I think that this situation has dragged on for too long in terms of how the leader of the opposition has dealt with it. Immediately upon that becoming fact that she did, participate in the witness statement of Mr. Diyal Singh, when Mr. Diyal Singh was supposed to give evidence before a parliamentary committee, oversight committee, of which she was a member. At that point in time, she should have resigned right away, or offered a resignation right away, and or the leader of the opposition should have removed her immediately, not just from being a member of the committee, but really removing her as a senator, because that misjudgment was a no-no. Ms. John Bates, I don't know her personally, but she's an attorney at law, apparently, with a number of years of experience, and ought to have known that what was her role in that parliamentary committee was an investigative role. And therefore, if you're investigating an issue and somebody is to give evidence as a witness before that committee of which you are sitting as an investigating officer, then really you can't assist that person in giving evidence. So that was clearly a no-no, and required, I think, the leader of the opposition to have acted immediately to remove her as a senator. And that would have taken away a lot of the toing and froing, not all, because obviously it's party politics going on, and it would have removed a lot of the toing and froing that has subsequently taken place. And then, unfortunately, well, let me put it this way, JW. Last night, when I got the message from about being on the program this morning, I was actually at the National Poetry Slam. The first time I attended, I've gone to spoken word since it started in its early days, more than 25 years ago, with some of the students at UE and others, Mohammed Morkil and many others being involved in doing spoken word poetry. But first I went to the slam and listening. I didn't hear all of the contestants, but listening to those that I heard. And you have had quite a few of them on your program on a Friday morning, and I congratulate you for highlighting the voices of young people. Did they mention this incident in Islam yesterday? They didn't. There may have been somebody who mentioned previous, because I missed two or three of the contestants. I had to do something, so I missed 2 or 3 of the contestants. But they were scathing about the party politics and what goes on in the country for governance, passes for governance. There was a number of them were scathing in their commentary about that. And so I certainly think that, and there may have been a reference to it, I don't want to put my head in the block, but there wasn't. But there was scathing in their commentary. And I do think that if our young people feel that way about our institutions of state, then the behavior in Parliament, not only the incident that involves Mrs. John Bates, but generally the behavior in Parliament and the personal attacks that are going backwards and forwards across the floor, not so much in the Senate, but from what I understand, more particularly what took place in the House on Friday. Those things mean that our young people have confidence and trust in the institutions of governance, institutions of state, and that's bad for the country.
And truth be told, David, they're looking on, and the example that's being set leaves much to be desired. I want to take it before I go to the opposition leaders, more or less delay in really telling us what's the final position. There's another senator who is involved in this particular matter. Obviously, he was not part of the GSC. He was a former attorney general, a man who is, many might consider a legal luminary, who should know better. And whether she was taking, we don't know. I don't know the intimate details, whether Senator John Bates would have been taking instructions or she did this on her own volition, but she did something to me which is so honorable. We have not seen that kind of bravery in the politics within recent times. She recognized she would have erred, and she has decided to step aside and to just save her name and her brand and her legacy. And I could respect that. But should Mr. Alwari, Senator Alwari, also do the same? Because even though he wasn't there to ask questions within this GSC, he too should have known better, especially a man of his ilk and legal standing. Because his name, his fingerprints apparently are all over this also.
Yes. So there are two questions that arise, and I don't have all of the facts. We do know that he participated in helping Mr. Diaz Singh to prepare his statement. The question arises as to whether he explicitly knew what Ms. John Bates was doing, and therefore what his advice to her and or Mr. Diaz Singh would have been in that circumstance. And those facts have to emerge and come out. He has claimed that he was advising Mr. Diaz Singh as his attorney. And is that common practice, David? Is that something that's accepted, that you could advise a former colleague who's going to answer in front of a GSC, even though you're part of the power structure now? I would think that is possible. It might be skating a very thin line, skating ice and being on a very thin line. It does. Let me put it this way: even if it is permissible and possible legally, it doesn't look good, right? And therefore, questions arise about the way in which the opposition has dealt with this particular matter. Now, what Senator Alwari did in speaking in the Senate is he also raised questions about the chair of that committee, who is the Speaker of the House. So, there's a lot of mess that is going on in the country. And if I could just pivot off of that for a moment, Mrs. Prasad Bissessar made a statement over the weekend saying that this goes to the root of who finances the PNM. And she used disparaging comments about who finances the PNM. Of course, the question also arises as to who finances the UNC. And so one of the things that has to be done is campaign and party finance legislation. And both of the political parties are negligent in this regard. In the 2015 Parliament, draft legislation a bill was presented to the Parliament. It lapsed, and in the 2020 Parliament, it was brought back by the PNM government at the time. It went to a joint select committee to review it, and it never emerged. So more than 5 years passed without it coming out of that joint select committee. People were asked to submit suggestions, memoranda, comments on the bill. It was a very long bill. The bill was entitled the Amendment to the Representation of the People's Act, which is the act that establishes the Elections and Boundaries Commission and the whole process of elections in the country. And so these were amendments to that piece of legislation, very detailed amendments. And I, on behalf of the MSJ, did submit very lengthy comments on the bill. So that lapsed, and the Joint Select Committee did submit some very brief report saying that the committee is considering it. They wanted more time, and they asked for the work of the committee to be extended. And that went on 5 or 6 times every year. And they said that they had received comments, and they listed organizations that submitted comments, written comments, and that they had hired a consultant, or the Parliament took on a consultant to give them some advice. But what was significant was that neither the PNM as a party nor the UNC as a party submitted any comments. They would hold that to be speaking as members of Parliament, which I think is wrong. I think the parties in a situation like that ought to have put forward their own views on the legislation, because this was affecting them as a political party. So one of the problems we have with all these accusations of who is financing who and who is defending which interest is that maybe both have being financed by particular interests, and maybe both are defending particular interests. We don't know, because we don't know who the financiers are. And we definitely need to have that out in the public domain, and then politics might be a little cleaner.
Finance, the financiers, that reform, that transparency, I think, is most important. And also, I also talk about seeing my leaders debate, debate the issues, the leaders. But again, we find ourselves not seeing that reality anytime soon. Let me ask you, though, when it pertains to the Parliament and the walkout style we are seeing adopted now by the opposition, is this going to be the new normal? And even the absenteeism, because again, the Prime Minister, other than not showing up for post-cabinet meetings, I'm seeing, well, most times she will be there in Parliament, but Friday's walkout, she was nowhere to be seen. She was absent in the Parliament. And we're seeing the opposition more and more using that particular tactic. When things get heated and there's that tension within the lower house, they do the walkout, and I guess everything just goes up more or less in smoke. What's your take on just the current climate within the House?
I think it's very poor, and a number of persons who, of course, as you said, you were in the Senate for a brief time, and I was in the Senate for 2 years. The Senate tends to be more engaging rather than confrontational, although from time to time it can be like that. And I think certainly in this Parliament, it has been far more engaged in conflict rather than engaged in serious debate on issues. You recall statements made by the Prime Minister and other members of the government attacking the independent senators, for example, over the issue of the Zoso bill, and the accusation by the Prime Minister, never substantiated by any evidence, that several senators had asked for favors in return for supporting the bill, and no evidence was ever provided. So the Senate has also, become has been brought into a certain amount of disrepute, if you wish, in terms of trust and confidence in the eyes of the public, in terms of how it is going to function, and the credibility and legitimacy and integrity of everyone in that chamber. Certainly in the House, it has been much worse. You've had, 2 walkouts now. There have been very acrimonious engagements between members of the opposition and the Speaker of the House, and the crosstalk going across the floor has not been helpful. So Parliament, which is, from time to time I've looked at BBC and seen the live question time to the Prime Minister, and it can be quite tense, and very strong questions put to the Prime Minister, and quite a bit of noise being made by members of both sides. But they actually do try to debate the issues, yes, and I think that has become absent from the Parliament in Trinidad and Tobago. And in my view, this is another reason why we call for the Second Republic. The First Republic is collapsing, has collapsed in terms of the institutions established by the First Republic. And when those institutions collapse, then there leaves a vacuum. And listening to the young people in spoken word, they're critical not just of one side, they're critical of both. And they're saying the institutions are not working in the interest of the people, whether it is the economic arrangements, leaving people in poverty and a sense of hopelessness and alienation and so on, or whether it is the politicians doing things that are unacceptable in terms of moving the country forward in unity. And I think that this issue raises that question again. And, I think we're going to have a level of discussion Go ahead, JW, yes.
No, so I was going to tell you, because as we're talking about the opposition, I want to take it back to the opposition leader for a moment, just to get your perspective on the delay. I don't think I would have received a direct response from you, so I just want to go back to that point from earlier, just for a moment. Senator Bates, John Bates, again, yes. I said, very brave, showing character by saying, you know what, hands up, I'll step aside. We have not really heard as to the response from the opposition leader in terms of that said resignation. There's still a delay, nothing definitive just yet. I don't know if we might find out today during the week. What does this particular delay indicate to you concerning, because the senator made a decision, but I guess your resignation is only valid when it's accepted by whoever is your superior, and in this case, it will be the opposition leader. From what I'm seeing on The Guardian as of today, there's been no definitive decision in that regard. What's your perspective on that said delay?
I think Mrs. Beckers-Robinson has failed. As I said, as soon as the issue arose, if I was the leader of the opposition, I would have informed Her Excellency the President that Mrs. John Bates is no longer a senator, and I would have advised on your appointment as a senator. I wouldn't have had to wait for any report by her or by Senator Al-Rari and so on. That would have been immediate decisions, specifically with respect to Mrs. John Bates. Having her resign and not accepting that resignation is, I think, a double failure on her part to act.
Well, I will tell you this, Mr. Abdullah, she was actually sat with me, and she said when this incident actually took place in real time, she was out of the country. The opposition leader told me that here on set literally about, I would say, a week and a half ago.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that interview, yes. But that doesn't, when you're out of the country, you're in the country, you could still act. There's no acting leader of the opposition, right? There's only one leader of the opposition. And therefore, there's WhatsApp, there are emails, that could have been acted upon immediately. It would have required an hour or two of quiet time in having a conversation with the senator concerned, and having ascertained from her what took place. Simply by way of a conversation like that, an email correspondence will be sent to the office of the president and effected right away.
Yeah, understood.
So I think that was a failure on her part. It showed a failure of leadership to take decisive action on an important issue, which is clearly very embarrassing to her party and the PNM, right? And to have removed, you can't remove the embarrassment or the stain, if you wish, on what took place, but you certainly could show that you're not going to tolerate or accept whether it was an honest error. I'm not questioning now, the motives of Mrs. John Bates, but I'd have acted on it. Now, if, for example, it was a decision of the Senate caucus or the parliamentary caucus of the PNM, or we don't know, to have Mrs. John Bates actually do what she did, that raises another issue, but we don't know. And perhaps, the PNM needs to come clean, not just with respect to the individual senator, but the whole way in which this matter has been dealt with.
Yeah, very, very brave by the senator to take that particular stance. And I hope we could see that kind of, strength from people who put themselves in public office, especially if there is any shortcoming. And more so, we are seeing where lots of public utterances via social media from senators and ministers, junior ministers. It's leaving many scratching their head as to what's going on, what's this new style of politics, this brazen, very foul-mouthed kind of industrial, like you swear a man down by the port, and no disrespect to the port, but we know every particular work and environment will have its own culture. And I think a little more is expected of our leaders and those in the corridors of governance. What's your take on that kind of language, the kind of language we're hearing, and should that, could that cause or bring the population, or even leaders, as it were, in the same space to ask people to either step aside or to move up with that kind of rhetoric?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, when we talk about industrial language, of course, I would have known that from engaging with workers in the oil industry and elsewhere. And so workers use industrial language not to attack one another, it is part of the language. So if you have to move a heavy piece of equipment, you might use industrial language in relation to how you're moving it. But it is not something that is used to create conflict or antagonism with a fellow worker, right? So that's different. And so when you have members of parliament who are then using that language to attack other members, not necessarily of their party, of other parties, but who are colleagues in the parliamentary process, that is horrible. Or to denigrate women, for example. And one of the spoken word, performers last night spoke about, wanting to be respected and loved and not denigrated. So we have to ensure that those who are supposed to be leaders walk the talk. They have to walk the talk. And walking the talk means that they have to demonstrate leadership. If they are abusing other people verbally, then what does that say to someone in a household? Does that give them the right to verbally abuse their spouse or their child, or to behave in a particular way to their neighbor? And when those things begin to break down, then it leads to the kind of violence that we are having in Trinidad and Tobago as a whole. And, when leaders talk in violent terms, then what do we expect young people to do when they're in school? Are they not going to also speak in violent terms? And then perhaps one use of abusive language by one then leads to a response that is physical, and then we condemn the children and want to expel them from school. So the children are they just acting out or doing and other circumstances are very different from the leaders, because the leaders are not under that pressure. But some of the school children are under extreme pressure in terms of their mental health, in terms of their situation of coping with family and school and a whole set of other stresses. But we want to attack them and suspend and expel them, but our leaders do not get suspended or expelled for equivalent behavior.
Well, David, obviously, you're hitting the nail there on the head. I wish we could continue all morning, but we have to stick a pin for now. It's always a pleasure. We'll touch base soon, and all the best.
Thanks, JW. Thanks for having me. Take care. Be safe.
That's right. David Abdullah there touching base with us as we just do a little analysis of the political landscape. Of course, during the calls, we'll get a chance to express some more. We're going to treat with the calls after 7. Your open forum will be live, so stand by. Up next, some housekeeping. Ways to contact us and to book your spot on the show. I'll give all the details after the break.
On Mother's Day, Sunday, May 10th, bring your mothers, sisters, wives, and the entire family to the luxurious, specially decorated Cascadia Hotel Ballroom St. Anne's for this exceptional Mother's Day buffet lunch and show.
From 12 noon, come enjoy a sumptuous buffet lunch prepared by the world-class chefs, which include appetizers, desserts, cocktails, and more. Then, from 2 p.m.,
mothers will be serenaded by the Caribbean stars live. Wendell McBurney,
Patricia Smith,
and soca star Sanel Dempster.
And the King Weston Rollins with love songs and gospel. Early bird tickets available now at $500
at Cascadia Hotel St. Anne's, Crosby St. James, Cache Port of Spain, Michelle's Fashions Arima, Sona Jewelers, Chaguana San Pinal, Bellini, Strugmart, San Fernando, and online at islandetickets.com.
Get a loan at Bremont. The process is simple. Fast and efficient approvals. Receive funds within 24 hours once approved. And no penalty for early repayment. Located at 4 Gallant Street, Woodbrook. Remember, we like to lend.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry. Premier insurance coverage for less.
Visit Tire Clinic Marketing, New Truck and OTR Tire Service Center at number 30 and 32 Montrose Main Road, Chaguanas. Call today at 665-8973 or 672-3419. Alignment services available. Tire Clinic Marketing, Truck and OTR Service Center. A tire for every need.
Welcome back. Let's remind you, let's put that reminder. Ways to contact us to book your spot on the program, whether it's live or via Zoom. Yes, we can make it happen. You're sending your email to tmb@cnc3.co.tt. We look forward to seeing, we look forward to hearing from you. So let's make it happen. Let's head across to the social media handles, Instagram, Facebook, and X. Very active. Also active via our mobile app, the CNC3 mobile app, your number one source for verified breaking news. All your content and programming details readily available. Let's move on to the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian. The legacy product, 108 years in the making. Of course, we got the new look, we got the new feel, and you can enjoy the Guardian on your laptop, your tablet, your smartphone when you visit guardian.co.tt. Put it in a gear today. Look at right there. Nice. Food for thought. Let's read. Words to inspire on this Monday morning. It takes but one positive thought when given a chance to survive and thrive to overpower an entire army of negative thoughts. Again, it takes but one positive thought when given a chance to survive and thrive to overpower an entire army of negative thoughts. So keep the mindset up. The glass always half full, never half empty. It's all about mindset. Let's check in with Sagoni for our Farmers Report for today, Monday. Good morning, Sagoni.
Good morning, farmers. I'm Sigoni Mohammed with your Farmers Almanac for the week ahead. Now, we're heading into a hotter and slightly drier pattern this week, with the Met Service forecasting near to below normal rainfall all the way through mid-May, which means soil moisture will gradually begin to decrease across farmlands. So, from Monday through Wednesday, rain chances remain low under partly cloudy to occasionally breezy conditions, with only isolated light showers expected. Now, these are poor planting days, as seeds planted now may struggle. But from Thursday, pushing all the way into the weekend, moisture begins to increase slightly, with rain chances rising and a few scattered showers possible, especially during the afternoon hours. These are excellent days for planting carrots and other root crops. Temperatures, though, remain warm to very warm, and winds remain moderate from the east to east-northeast, especially across exposed hillsides and coastal farming districts. And the final 2 days of this outlook in May are especially favorable for harvesting. So farmers, use the early part of the week for preparation, plant your root crops midweek, and then shift to pest control and harvesting as the weekend approaches. And with that, that's your Farmers Almanac, helping you grow smarter every week.
Sincere thanks, Sagoni. Let's head across to our 7 a.m. news update. Your calls, your live calls after 7.
It's Jay's exclusive Monday Day sale. Get 25% off everything from Mom. All departments, no exceptions. 25% off in-store and online. Jay's exclusive Mother's Day sale. JD's, Princess Down, San Fernando, Rio Claro, Gasparilla Mall, and M6 Plaza Chaguanas. Your low price headquarters, JD's.
Celebrate Mother's Day with Magical Expressions Limited. We're the largest local importer and distributor offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us at 701-6488 or 701-6680 or visit our website to order. Chicleisure Limited, the Caribbean's largest manufacturers of plain and printed paper bags, leaders in plastic bags, vermicelli, split piece powder, and greaseproof paper, ideal for doubles, french fries, and sandwiches. Supplying stores nationwide. For quality products, trust Chicleisure Limited, 665-3336.
My own personal motto is to show citizens of this country that our stories can be told in a professional and international standard. I want to show them that the journalism they consume on cable TV can also exist here. Each day, that's my focus, that's my drive, to show the stories of our communities, of our people, matter just as much as anywhere else in the world. That's why we are where you are.
Time Check, brought to you by the Central Bank and the National Financial Literacy Program.
Good morning, I am Bhavita Gopalchan with headline news on CNC3 and the TBC Radio Network. The chairman of First Citizens Holdings Limited says action is underway after a whistleblower report raised serious concerns at the bank. Shankar Badesi confirms policies are being revised and procedures followed in order to protect the whistleblowing framework. The 10-page report revealed by the Sunday Guardian was submitted in March and flagged 4 issues: alleged misuse of the system to target individuals, a possible conflict of interest involving a senior executive who also sits on the board, claims of board overreach into operations, and questions about fiduciary and regulatory duties. Deputy Chairman Dr. Sterling Frost is named, but Badesi would not say what action could be taken, noting processes are already in motion. He insists the priority is maintaining confidence in the bank's procedures and protecting shareholders. Now, no timeline has been given for the outcome. There's still no word on whether opposition leader Penelope Beckles has accepted Senator Janelle John Bates' resignation, but she's rejecting Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissess's claims that the PNM is controlled by financiers and elites. On Friday, the opposition staged a walkout during a debate on a motion against Senators John Bates and Faisal Rawi, accused of altering former Health Minister Terence Dial Singh's witness statement. The Prime Minister said the move showed the opposition was fleeing accountability and protecting Al-Rawi through, quote, fake elite financiers, end quote. Well, yesterday, Beckles said party decisions will follow due process, not outside interests, and defended the walkout as a stand against abuse of the parliamentary majority. She also criticised Prime Minister Persad-Bissesse for commenting on proceedings she did not attend, saying her absence undermines her authority. And political scientists Dr. Bishnu Raghunath and Dr. Indira Rampasad say Beckles appears to be delaying what they view as an inevitable decision to accept John Bates' resignation. Dr. Winfred James, however, disagrees, saying capital punishment should not be applied to every misstep. Dr. Rampasad suggests Beckles could draw lessons from the Prime Minister's leadership style between 2010 and 2015.
It is worrying, I think it's disturbing, that the opposition leader is hesitating on this, which requires urgent attention and an urgent decision. Penny needs to show some cojones like Kamala. Persad-Bissesse had asked a number of ministers, a whole spate of them, one after the next, to resign for misconduct. And that made her look like a strong leader.
But Dr. Raghunath questioned the delay, warning it may carry political consequences.
It comes across as if she's indecisive, and the bad part was it follows the Balirama Raj and her failure yet to act in that way. If you don't make a decision on the John Bates thing, or you decide you're not going to be bullied, it reflects badly on your party. You cannot tell me you want to be U.S. Prime Minister and waiting, and you go turn a blind eye to unethical behavior.
Well, stay tuned for another news update at the top of the hour and for comprehensive coverage in our midday news and major newscast at 7 p.m.
Wouldn't you just love a cup of Tetley tea right now? Dark, strong British blend to give you a good morning boost. Or Tetley decaf, all of the antioxidants, none of the caffeine. Losing weight or staying healthy your thing? Try Tetley green tea. Get the vitamins to boost your health with Tetley super teas. Or calm down with Tetley chamomile. Wouldn't you just love a cup of Tetley tea right now? Tetley, a tea for everyone.
Loving the flavors you get with Tetley, a tea for everyone. Tetley tea.
Distributed by AMCO, a subsidiary of Ansa Macau.
Welcome back. It's your second hour for today, Monday, a feel-good Monday. Obviously, a chance to unpack some of the happenings over the weekend and just to hear from you. So we stand by. Shogunas is holding on to give some commentary. Shogunas, good morning. You're live. Shogunas?
A pleasant good morning, Jason.
Hey, morning, man. Welcome.
You hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear, man. Pleasant good morning. Welcome.
Right, I seem to be hearing you nonetheless. Jason, first of all, I want to say today is Monday, the 4th of May, 2026. And I want to tell the entire nation, for all those who's listening, let us get up this morning and let us do what it is we have to do in spite of wherever it is that's going on, wherever challenges that we have in front of us. Right, trust in God and let's come out and do what it is. So do what it is you have to do. And that's what I'm saying, you will make it. Right? I myself have some heavy things to deal with today, but I trust in God that He will pull me through everything.
Yes.
All right. Jason, I want to touch on the political front. What I would like to say is that in connection with the John Bates issue, right, I believe, honestly speaking, that Penelope Becker should have made a statement by now, should have said something by now, right? It appears in the eyes of the public that she's awaiting instructions, right, from the real hierarchy of the party, right? And that is not right to show, because I mean, as a leader, you would know that Ms. Posad Bisasa in the term of 2010 to 2015, she would have dismissed certain members of parliament because of their unethical political behavior, and that by itself goes to show that you know what, that we will praise those who do good, but for those who do wrong, they will also be disciplined. So that by itself shows good traits of a leader. Right? I don't think that Penelope Beckers is showing that she's the true leader of the party. It appears that she's awaiting further instructions from, as I said before, from the hierarchy of the party to come and say, well, you know what, to do this and to do that. The mere fact that Stuart Young could have gone to Venezuela and they said now that they knew nothing of that. Come on, you really think that they knew nothing of that? It goes to show. And I would tell you something, Jason. I believe Penelope Beckers means well, honestly speaking. I believe that she means well. I believe that she's one of the better ones in the PNM, right? But here, it's sad to know that this is a real possibility, what I'm going to say here, that coming up to the next general election, they're going to call her internal elections, and they're going to push this woman aside. After all this work that she's done, right, as for where the opposition is concerned, for 5 years, standing on the forefront and speaking and answering questions and whatever the case is, you see them fellas do what I work, right? Are we and them in what I work? That's what I'm saying. So they put somebody to do all the bulwark, right? And when the time comes now, right, to elect a prime minister, or even possible, the possibility would exist a changing of the government, right? They want to put somebody else there who they would know. Right. I believe Penelope Beckers means well, but let me tell you something. I also believe that she's going to be cut a raw deal. She's probably not seeing that right now. But just we'll see how it goes. But let's remember that I said that on this day.
All right, Shogunas, I'll remember. Oli Bassman, interesting assessment and prediction. I mean, I don't know. That's. I mean, we have seen some interesting developments in the politics there, but that's an interesting one there. Now let's set to Faizo now. Faizo, bad brother Faizo.
Good morning, my brother.
Morning, welcome.
Jason, honestly, I feel sorry for Mrs. John Bates. I really do, because I think we would have lost the opportunity to have a young and brilliant mind on board who, in my mind, would have made positive contributions to Trinidad and Tobago. So I will start with that. What is sad is that you had a seasoned campaigner in the man of a former Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago who would have helped her presided over a mistake. Because I see it simply as a mistake, Jason. And, you know, with the angst and anxiety that she would have coming into the politics, you know, inexperience, basically a rookie, she would be susceptible to mistakes. And I think, but having somebody who is as seasoned as Mr. Alwari, participated, aided and abetting that something has to be wrong there. I wonder if there something to destroy the young lady, my brother.
Well, I mean,
the internal politics of the PNM, I'm not sure. I'm just asking. Further to that, Mr. Al-Rawi, as a senator, would have taken an oath of office to protect the integrity of the parliament and the parliamentary conduct. So, you know, he's complicit as far as that goes. And what is surprising is that I am not hearing anything. You know, my brother, the Alsing, is not sharing a care for this lady. I know he's a very emotional fella. And, I'm not hearing, he went very silent. But I think Mr. Alwari should be dealt with in the most severe way. He's arguing that he's the lawyer for Mr. Dialsing, but the Constitution takes precedent over everything else in the country, and he has sworn to an oath, my brother. Okay? Have a nice day.
All the best, Faizo. All the best. And again, I go back to what I said this morning, because I, too, would have put my commentary out there. It's on public record, my position, and I call for, at least last week I was saying, well, Ms. Bates, best thing to do, step aside, maintain your good name, your integrity. And she has shown more character and more strength than so many who would have been in similar situations. And I think, this will augur well. She might probably find another way to contribute to public life and to the country. But trust me, that's a woman of strength. To say, you know what, Olia, I'm good. I'll step aside now. That's different. That's not easy. That's not an easy task, Till I get put out for just my phone ringing and I feel sour. So I can only imagine this particular situation. We must have a heart too, right? Tabakit, what's the action now?
Pleasant morning to you, Mr. Jason Williams.
Morning, Tabakit. Looking forward to the commentary, man. I'm listening.
Okay, let me give my post-mortem on the John Bain Alwari gate, and I'm calling it that. I am saying at this time, Senator Faris Alwari should resign or the opposition leader should remove him. I'll tell you why. He was a former Attorney General of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Journalist, let me repeat this, please, Senator Faris Alwari was our former Attorney General, and he should have known better. And I am saying here, for the Parliament, the hollow halls, for an Attorney General to mislead his junior senator, I am making a clarion call via the most popular TV program on a morning in the world with Jason Williams. I am now making a clarion call to the opposition leader. She must remove Senator Faris Alwari. It's a clear case of conflict of interest for a former Attorney General to mislead a committee. And it's a conflict of interest. He should know, even though you is Dialsing an attorney, but as a former Attorney General, Faris Alwari need to be removed as a senator from the upper house. I thank you.
Thank you, Tabakit. Tabakit said that this is the most popular morning show, not just Trinidad, the man said the world, You hear that written, guys? I lean back in the seat, I start a blush, yes? I start a blush. I feel like, as they say, I bite up shilling. Thank you, Tabakit. Listen, Tabakit, I know nobody will, right? But we definitely try our very best here at home to ask the questions, to allow people like yourself to give your commentary. And it's really to push and advance the nation's interests forward. We want to move the needle in the right direction. And yes, as it pertains to Senator Alwari, only time will tell. We'll hear from the opposition leader, I'm sure, at some point this week. And there will be some further clarity, some kind of determination, some kind of acceptance of the said resignation of Senator John Bates, or a chance to be forgiven and to move on. But I stand on what I said in terms of the senator's character and strength. That it's not an easy task. And the papers today, the picture tells the story, and you could tell that, you know, it was probably a very tough one. Some were even calling for it to be debarred. I find that is unacceptable. That is taking it too far. She'll go on to her private practice, and her name, I think, and her brand will be able to probably come out of this even stronger. That's how sometimes these things go, you know. The man upstairs, he alone knows. And some scenarios where it might seem a bit brutal and severe in the moment, because I and all went through that, where you're watching a world and you don't know what next. And then there are certain blessings to come that, you know, the Father above, he's in control, and he will have a bigger purpose and a bigger plan. So, you know, interesting one indeed. We will stay on top of the story and bring you all the latest developments. Let's continue with our discussion. Up next, we get into details regarding the World Bank office in TNT and the significance of that particular development. Professor Roger Hussein, economist, he joins me next.
Celebrate Mother's Day with Magical Expressions Limited. We're the largest local importer and distributor offering the widest range of beautiful flowers at the most affordable prices. Call us at 701-6488 or 701-6680 or visit our website to order.
Things don't always go as expected. Be ready with Trinry for auto, home, business and group life. Call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Huge insurance premium. Pay your premiums bit by bit with FlexiPay from Trinry. For more manageable auto, home and commercial insurance payments, call us at 800-TRIN or visit trinry.com today. Trinry, premier insurance coverage for less.
This is more than just music. This is where you find the best of TNT. This is more than just a vibe. This is where Bollywood gets a twist. This is more than just energy. This is Bhangra and indie pop too. This is the mix. This is the life. Lock on or log on now. Sangeet 106.1 FM. This is authentic East Indian radio. This is us.
Alejandra, you're still alive. Mr. Alejandro! Mrs. Lucia! Mrs. Lucia, come quick, Mr.
Alejandro! My goodness! You're so... Sophia!
Don't miss the gripping drama Cabo. Sundays at 8 p.m. only on CNC3.
Volleyball filmmakers, producers, content creators, influencers, and recording artists. If you're looking to rent a versatile studio space with green screen, video wall, cyclorama, and more, look no further. GM Labs is here to make your dreams a reality. Located in the heart of Port of Spain on St. Vincent Street, GM Labs is your one-stop shop for all your creative needs with over 2,800 square feet to work with. Take your creative concept to the final product at GM Labs. Give us a call or WhatsApp or message us on our Instagram and Facebook pages at GM Labs TT.
Professor Roger Hussein joins me, economist, as we treat with most, I would say, recent development, very relevant to the conversation. I look forward to perspective from Professor Hussein. Great to see you as always, man. Welcome.
Yes, good morning, and thank you for the invitation.
Indeed. I want to find out from you that development. We saw the Prime Minister last week, the photo up and the announcement that the World Bank office, there's going to be a World Bank office in Trinidad and Tobago. Why does this matter, Professor Hussein?
Well, first to begin, I'm not sure if all the listeners would know we had a World Bank office here before and it was closed. And there has been some effort in process for the last 12, 14 years to get an office re-established. It is only now given the green light fully, so that's good. Well, I mean, if you have a big multinational lending agency opening an office in your country, you would get access to quicker dialogue with them. You would have a country rep. You would be able to get feedback in a quicker time frame. You might be able to meet them for lunch and have a dialogue over some particular development issue. And the IFC, the IFC part of the arrangement is such that the private sector should be able to get access to a greater amount of private sector capital, which is good, given that we have already announced that we are aiming for an increase in non-energy exports by $5 billion by 2030. And we know that some of the binding constraint is access to US dollars in order to buy raw material and to expand machinery base and so on. So I see, this is a good step in the right direction, a good opportunity to get access in some form or the other to more capital, to more investment capital.
So as it pertains to that development, is it that that's a precursor? Is it something that you anticipate that we will have to go that direction? I know you would have mentioned some of the grand plans and in terms of keeping the wheels turning, borrowing might definitely be the option or the next feasible option. Is this an inevitable?
I didn't get one of your words. Are you saying that borrowing is inevitable?
Yeah, that's what, because I know for some of the grand plans, we might have to definitely dip in a cookie jar that's outside of Trinidad and Tobago to fulfill these grandier plans.
Of course. Yeah. What I would say is that I don't think this is really linked to direct government borrowing. This might be more linked to private sector related activities. One of the things that I remember when Minister Swarat Singh spoke with us at the university about three months ago, he said when the World Group is established in Port of Spain, one of the things that would help is create that funding becomes more available to local businesses through the IFC. And I think because our external debt is already the highest in recorded history, because of our low stock of reserves, that corridor, that opportunity we are getting that could potentially help our private sector firms, possibly with some capital easing, if it can work through this opportunity, is tremendous. Because for me, from where I sit, I listen to all the commentary on Manatee and Jagan and Coquitlam and Manakin and whatnot, and they are good commentary. We take all the natural gas we should get, because as natural gas production increases and it runs through the economic activity will grow. That's a fact. But for me, the long-term sustainable growth of the Trinidad and Tobago economy really lies with that increase in non-energy export activity to $5 billion that the Minister of Trade mentioned. Now, if we could get some resources for our private sector firms to grow and to glow, that's fantastic. That's exactly what we want. The closer to that $5 billion in non-energy exports of goods and services we come, is the stronger this economy becomes and the better the outlook for the medium term. So, I mean, there are other options as well besides the World Bank. There's CAF, there's this Afro-Exim Bank. There are other options. And you know, the one that offers you the best terms for your private sector entities to grow and glow, I think you explore them all and you work with the ones that are working and you push this economy forward. It's not an easy task. Operating with 18% fall in GDP since 2015 is not an easy task. And so all hands on deck rowing in the same direction is definitely welcomed at this point.
Well, I've recognized the administration, the government, they are looking towards new partners who are looking to reestablish old friendships, and they're moving in a different direction. I know part of the revitalization plan, there is this push to collaborate with our neighbors there in the Middle East, United Arab Emirates. We are seeing recently, obviously, that they have pulled out of OPEC, that's the UAE. and we know of their particular issue right now with some of what's still lingering in the space because of the Iran-USA conflict. Is the Middle East the right direction to go? What's happening there? What's happening there? Could it impact us with some of our plans? And more so, while you answer that, what's the significance of the UAE pulling out of OPEC? Will that impact us in any way?
Well, so let me deal with the last part first. If the UAE pulling out of OPEC would obviously create some pressure on oil prices in the future once the UAE expands its various pipeline supply of oil to other places, which is it already has some of that in place. Then it can increase production whenever it sees necessary, and therefore reduce the power, not because OPEC is still substantively intact, but provide room for a greater supply of oil on the market that could dampen the control that OPEC has over overall oil prices. So it would work for the global economy in terms of making prices perhaps most likely move with a greater tendency downwards. And so that would help our non-energy sector export, especially in terms of imports, but that may not necessarily work favorably for our oil export prices. Now, coming back to a comment you said earlier as well about the revitalization plan, I haven't really heard much about that. I understand that there was some expression of interest, but you have not been hearing as much of it of late. And so that's why whenever you interview me, I always come back to Kama Maharaj for US $5 billion. To me, as an economist who understand these numbers well, who know the great critical importance of an additional US $5 billion by 2030, I think every single national in this country should be supporting that plan and trying to make it work. Because if we pull off that additional US $5 billion, if we get US $2 billion, by 2030, that's a tremendous addition to our density of economic activity, far less so if we get US $5 billion. So I am fully in support of the Ministry of Trade efforts. I would like them to communicate more with the population so that the population, they could crowd in population, the positive energy from the population. When we understand what they are doing, I find the communication strategy is weak, and we really don't have a good formula and understanding of what is going on. But I look forward to better communication as we push towards this US $5 billion target.
Yeah, because I know, in terms of the revitalization plan, I know Minister John went out there and we saw lots of momentum and meetings, but then the war come and this war come and happen. All these meetings happened prior to the engagement, and I know that the UAE, they're also going through a kind of having to also revive their branding, because obviously they were considered the safe haven, and now with what's happening in the space, that illusion is kind of gone. So they and all too have to go through their own readjustment. So I'm thinking here, where else can we go in terms of partnerships? And obviously we have had our relations with the US. That is probably even stronger now. UAE was given a consideration. Where else could we? Because Venezuela, as you can see, we're seeing the acting president having meetings everywhere else except Trinidad, and we have business to do with them. So I don't anticipate any major developments with Venezuela anytime soon, or am I incorrect in my assessment there?
Well, your guess is as good as mine. I don't have any additional information to you. Ultimately, diplomacy would have to play a role, and our leaders would have to meet with their leaders and try to work things out. I think we have a tremendously, a really good, deep relationship with Venezuela. After all, we are hosting about 60 to 90,000 of their citizens. So it's really surprising that she didn't come here first. We are such a generous country to Venezuela. But I think that would work out over time, because ultimately, if such a large chunk of your outside workforce is in Trinidad and Tobago, I think what we should do is pick about 5 Venezuelans to go and meet with Venezuela alongside the Minister of Foreign Affairs. We have so many Venezuelans here, send a Venezuelan team. But I think that will eventually settle. But Venezuela is just one aspect. We have CARICOM, and we have the wider Caribbean. We have good export markets in Aruba, Curacao, St. Martin, British Virgin Islands, Turks and Caicos, Jamaica, Guyana. There are opportunities. But the only way we can build on these opportunities and make these opportunities work is take, for example, the e-tech park. What is going on with this e-tech park system? How much? I mean, some firms are getting very cheap rental accommodation at the e-tech park, but are they making the best use of this industrial facilitation to generate export revenues for the benefit of Trinidad and Tobago? And I throw that out to the e-tech park management. I know they have a new management and a good chairwoman. And I throw that out to them in that, in my opinion, the e-tech park should be one of the instruments that we use in order to help improve our efforts towards raising this US $5 billion additional in non-energy export revenues. And once we keep, so that's a low-hanging fruit. But there are other low-hanging fruits in the form of Guyana. Income is growing, and therefore we could continue to export there. Suriname income is expected to be one of the top 5 in the world in the next 3 years. So that's a big important market there. Then there's Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. So there are opportunities within the region that we could use our non-energy exports to target, but we need to put in the groundwork. And to be fair, you are, from the little things that you read with the reduction in crime, in my opinion, the improvement in the yachting sector, you see a number of things that are pointing in the right direction. We just need more of these things, and we just need them faster.
Yeah, Professor, as always, sincere thanks, and we will touch base soon. Have a great one.
Thank you. Have a good morning.
You're most welcome, Professor Roger Hussein, touching base. Up next, we continue. Impactful conversations ahead, and Tima, community activist, and Tima Solwazi, he joins me to treat with youth and crime and the Crime Prevention Academy. Very important talking point. Up next.
Matter most. It's the same if you hail from Moruga, where I'm from, Mount Irving, Scarborough, or Port of Spain. As a journalist, I'm focused on building that connection between Trinidad, the region, and the world. Most importantly, I want always to use my voice as a powerful weapon to break down barriers wherever they exist. This is why we are where you are.
The fact that they ask the questions, those challenging questions that no other media house would ask. So, shed light on those things that are in the dark, those stories that no one else wants to cover.
I grew up reading The Guardian, actually. It's a household name.
About The Guardian, one thing that I like, the human interest stories have increased.
See the investigative pieces on the human trafficking. I find that very interesting.
You go more in depth.
On sports, especially local sports, and that's one of my highlights for The Guardian.
Yeah, I've been in Ghana since The Guardian started coming out, started working.
I was a newspaper man.
Could the stories that are being covered are well detailed and you get more facts?
Also, I think the editorials, I think they're doing a good job and they're speaking in truth, and you know they're challenging the government to make things better.
Me in particular, of recently, the last 2-3 months, I've been reading The Guardian. I'm seeing a lot of news about the neighborhoods and the communities. And I even saw my community featured, and I was proud.
Oh, The Guardian.
The Guardian?
Guardian.
Trinidad Guardian.
The Guardian.
The Guardian.
Trinidad Guardian.
The Guardian is my first choice.
Tima Solwazi joins me, community activist, a man who's very outspoken, very much on the ground, and could bring not only the issues to the fore, but more so the solutions, because in real time, you know, you're having those conversations, you're seeing what needs to be adjusted, and there's some serious tweaking, you know. Obviously, yes, foundation starts with the family, and we look at school and all these institutions that's supposed to play its part, but I think the powers that be and the system, if there are certain avenues for the young people to express themselves and to express, to have the energy, you know, you could zone the energy in a particular direction, and I tell you, we could really see a difference. So I want to say thanks for being here. We're going to deal today with youth and crime, and also crime prevention and the academy that's being put in place for that. Welcome, Intimo.
Yes, thank you for inviting me.
You know, when we see, like I was talking to you about the front page and the fact that the officers were clearly, you know, not biting nice. We have seen where 4 people would have died in a hail of bullets in a gun battle with the police. I'm sure many of the fellas in that would have been young, 4 men that could have made a different decision in life, or could have gone a different direction. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to not have people suffer this kind of faith. Where do we start? And I know we would have mentioned the foundation with the family and with school and all that, but let's say that's questionable. Let's say that's not a good place. Let's say that's a place that's a bit, you know, some problems in that regard. How could we tap into the young people who are still trying to find their way in Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, again, good morning and thank you for having me here. But I want to start back there, because thinking about this conversation today, I said, Mtima, where to start? And so I want to start with Proverbs 22:6. Raise a child, or train a child in the way that they should go, and when they grow older, they will not depart. And I want to also add now 31:17 from the Quran, in a chapter called Luqman. Luqman was not a prophet, but he was a wise person. So same wisdom like in Proverbs. And he said, in terms of your son, right? Establish prayer, enjoin what is right, forbid what is wrong, and have patience, right? So you're developing a sense of patience within prayer, enjoining right, forbidding wrong. And we need to start there, right? There's something definitely wrong, and I'm saying this guardedly, right? Because we cannot continue along this way. Right? I want to also say, based on this statement, we are not a threat to humanity. Right? And we zoning in on this statement. They say the black man, the black youth is a threat. Don't be a threat to society, or don't be a threat to others. I think we are a threat to ourselves. Right? Look at this simple thing, and I'll show you a tie-in. We had this young man that's still trying to figure out what is iShow Speed. I know he's a young man, 21 years old, but what is the brand? I'm trying to figure out what that brand is. And look at the reception he got throughout the Caribbean. And then now we heard another streamer, or visiting Caribbean countries. But basically, a white woman from London saying, hey, that's racism. Or they didn't treat me like that. So, Jason, we cannot even celebrate ourselves. We celebrating ourselves with this young man, and somebody said, that is too much celebration for all your type, for all their kind. That is a burden on the average youth. We talk about the school. I was telling my wife over the weekend with this incident. This troubled me a lot, right? I know it troubled a lot of us in the country. I say, we need to find out who these young men are. Not in terms of they're from Central, they this, they that, they's African. Were they placed on extended suspension from school? Are they victims of violence in terms of the parents, siblings, close family relatives? Did they witness murder, violence within the space? Right? We need to take all these things into consideration, right? And also, we focus on one, and we love to use words like multi-sectorial, multi-discipline, multi-pronged approach, but we're not merging or marrying intervention with prevention. Some programs, they focus only on intervention, but we have to start with prevention also.
What's the Roots Foundation and people like yourself and your team doing to capture and to harness the young people's energy and that youthful exuberance to channel it in the right direction?
Right, so there's not a proposal. I brought this for you to see. This is the national, I know you didn't see it, you haven't seen it since I got it, right?
What is the medal?
Yeah, Hummingbird Silver.
Okay, I never see a medal, no, I've not seen what it look like.
No, now Jason, you hear what they said there? I visit schools. And when I go to a school, I make all the children hold that medal, feel that medal. Because the only time I saw and held that medal was when I got it. And I tell the children, this is not beyond you, right? This is not beyond you. But I want to start with this here in terms of, this was given to me last Republic Day, right? As a matter of fact, I'm the sole silver, Hummingbird Silver. They had gold, they had other bronze. I'm the only one for silver, right? This was given to me in the sphere of culture and the arts for the work I've been doing for the past 30 years, and Roots Foundation past 20 years. In 2024, we were leased a building in Tunapuna, the Tunapuna Old Post Office. It's just adjacent to the bus terminus, behind Palladium.
Yes, I know it.
The railway road to go into the market.
Yeah, I know it.
That building there, we were given that building to continue the work we are doing. And we have that building since 2024. We have been having challenges to get that project off the ground. We are creating Roots Cafe TT, Creative Academy for Entertainment. This is not a challenge the education system, nor is it to challenge other programs like YTEP, CCC, Serval, MILAT. It's a complement because we are looking at a target age group 11 to 17.
That's the most vulnerable, you believe?
Oh, of course, Jay.
That 11 to 17 is where it could change.
Yeah, listen, Jay, we have a program called Abyssinia Journey of Change, challenging harmful, negative gender expressions. We started that program in secondary schools, targeting from 1 to 3. And the Form 1s tell us, sir, this problem is start here, you know. All they need to go to the primary schools. We ran a program in the primary schools with standard 5 students. And the principal and staff of the primary school said, you all need to start in standard 3. Because, Jay, these children, based on the communities they come from, based on the environment, based on the exposure, they're vulnerable, right? We label that group chins, children in need of supervision. But are we actually doing that? When you place a child in you remember in our time, suspension was either 3 days, 5 days, 7, the most was 14 days.
Yeah. For a real serious infraction.
Anyway, I'm not going to say it had to be real bad to get 14-day suspension.
Yeah. And it was embarrassing too. It wasn't a ranking thing. When they get suspended, it was
shame.
Yeah.
Now, on that it was a slip back then. It's a full page now, legal size. 2 columns. 7 days, you could take that, or extended suspension. How have we moved from 7? How have we moved from 3 days? So when you put that child on extended suspension, and there's no systems in place to facilitate that child when they're home.
Yeah, what they're doing in that 2 weeks.
So over the years, we have developed a concept called but we don't have a school to prison pipeline like the US. We have a school to gangs pipeline. Because Jay, when you send I spoke to a principal from a certain school in East Port of Spain, and he said, sir, all my boys who were suspended got killed. Of course. If they're not in the police youth club, if they're not, so if you put in a child on extended suspension, I would hope you send them to programs like Serval, CCC, right? The police youth clubs are afternoon programs, so they could work with probably like the shorter suspension, 7 days, right? Send them to Roots Cafe TT because we're catering for that cohort of young people.
You getting any assistance with this in terms of, because I mean, for this to run, you will need resources.
Right.
How that working out?
So here what we have done so far. The Tunapuna Old Post Office, established in 1889.
Wow.
Right. So the first thing we did, we applied to the National Trust, and the building has been listed in the inventory of heritage assets.
Okay. Yes.
So any company in Trinidad and Tobago, a registered company, right, will get 150% tax allowance if they invest in cash, goods or services towards that building.
Understood. Understood.
We have made pleas, wrote to companies. We're not getting. I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on. That building is bordering 2 constituencies. It's actually in Tunapuna, but it's on the bus route.
Yes.
So you have St. Augustine.
St. Augustine, yeah. Across the bus route.
Oh, I mean,
Tunapuna.
Tunapuna. Right? We're trying to get meetings with the respective MPs. We're trying to meet with the Honorable Prime Minister. I would love to sit with her and say, Madam Prime Minister, this is our plan. Because I believe when she said, when our children rise, the nation rise. This is our program to help our children rise.
Yeah, and I know the East-West corridor would have had its challenges historically.
Yeah, and not only that too. You could be coming from wherever that, listen.
It's like a safe haven.
Oh, yeah, I telling a parent came to see the building Saturday, I say, hey, you could drive, come up the highway, come across Page Road, J, drop your child. Children could come there easy on the bus route, on the Eastern Main Road.
From your interaction with the youngsters, what is it they really need the most? Is it a listening ear? Is it to be seen? Is it to be heard? Is it, I mean, obviously everybody wants to rise, and of course the event generation wants it rather fast compared to when we were coming through the ranks. But what's the biggest concern when you speak to them in real time and you really you break it down to the source and to the core?
Well, you had mentioned, yes, they want to be seen, they want to be heard, but they want to be loved, right? They don't want to be judged. No, I was telling some people doing some research, and they asked me, what have I seen in schools? See what I have seen in schools. I'm not a traumatologist. You could talk to Johanse later in the week. But children are traumatized. Some cases, they come from homes, not all, they come from homes with violence in the home. So they're seeing, and I've been saying this, children are victims of domestic violence. Because when you've seen your mother being beaten, or probably father not being beaten, that affects you.
Yeah.
Right? Then you have violence in the community.
So it's
in the school.
So it's just a cycle.
Come now, man, G.
As we wrap things up, and we have to wrap things up now, how can folks, just to continue the conversation, how they could find you and contact you?
Right, so right now we're running a massive social media campaign on Facebook. Go to Roots Foundation TT. Right? Every day we posting 7 a.m., 1 p.m., 7 p.m., giving you information on the project, what we plan to roll out, how we plan to roll it out. We just need that financial support, boy, J-boy.
Well, I'm teaming, it's up there. Keep us in the loop. We will continue the conversation.
And we want people like you, Jay.
No, I
hello. What Tabakit said? The most
in the world,
Jay.
Listen, you have my support, man. Full support, as always. We'll touch base soon, man. Respect my brother.
Yeah, Jay.
Nobody else, man. You know, I want to continue with this conversation concerning the young people, and it's a beautiful transition from this discourse into Albert Marshall, who's coming forward for the Color Splash details. It's an anti-bullying campaign, and we're going to touch base with Albert after the break.
you just love a cup of Tetley tea right now? Dark, strong British blend to give you a good morning boost. Or Tetley decaf, all of the antioxidants, none of the caffeine. Losing weight or staying healthy your thing? Try Tetley green tea. Get the vitamins to boost your health with Tetley super teas. Or calm down with Tetley chamomile. Wouldn't you just love a cup of Tetley tea right now? Tetley, a tea for everyone.
Love the flavors you get with Tetley, a tea for everyone. Tetley tea.
Distributed by AMCO, a subsidiary of Ansa McCall.
Good day, Trinidad and Tobago. A safer nation begins with you standing up, speaking out, and doing your part. As your Commissioner of Police, I am prepared to do my part. Are you prepared to do your part? Get on board. Are you on board?
I am Bishop Ezekiel Clark, President of the Couva Police Station Community Council, and I am proud to say that I am on board with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in their fight against crime in Trinidad and Tobago.
I am Panis Dean Gulston. And I am Panis Johan Chakri. And crime prevention is everybody's business.
Hi, I am Sajina Kadir, attorney at law and team lead for the attorneys for the TTPS Community Justice Clinic. We support the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in the fight against crime.
Crime prevention is everybody's business. I am Shiraz Khan. I am a farmer. I support the TTPS in the fight against crime.
My name is Baldev Maraj, President of the Shagwanas Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Crime fighting is everybody's business.
We are all on board.
A timely discussion from the developments there, obviously coming out of that academy in Tunapuna to a program that's been happening for quite a while. We have heard of the engagements in South and back in the North this time around. It's the anti-bullying campaign, the conference, secondary schools, that's the target audience. And with me, Albert Marshall, Project Manager for Color Splash. Albert, again, congrats in advance, man, because this is... If there's one thing I remember about doing this show from the very time I started to now, you've been consistent, you've been doing this every year, no matter what challenge, no matter what come in your way, you find it, you make your way over the line to bring this to the masses. Welcome.
Good morning, welcome, JW. Yes. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
And you're correct, even during COVID, we were the only ones, like we ran it like a live stream. During COVID as well, too.
No, I remember. I realized the commitment is a serious one, Albert. You all do play with this particular, conference, and I'm sure you would have seen or probably heard testimonials of lives you would have impacted by doing this.
Yeah, most definitely. I could say we had one of the biggest success stories would have been like Shagwanas North. So they had an incident in their school that was really negative. I won't say what it was, and then. Like the following year now, they had students who were developing an app. So some of the guidance officers in the system and social workers, they have like multiple schools that they have to visit. So one guidance officer might be responsible for 3 schools. So when an incident occurs, it may not be reported in real time. So the students develop an app so that when the guidance officer comes back, they would see the information. And that was really important, especially during COVID, when everything was more online and stuff. So I'd say that's one of the better success stories. And we have this time Secondary Schools Anti-Bullying Conference.
Wednesday the
13th of May, next week Wednesday at Napa, Port of Spain.
I know usually you all are oversubscribed. Is there even a seat available for this next Wednesday?
Yes, so we do have, which is surprising, we do have space.
Okay.
I think what happened when we spoke as a team, some of the emails bounced, and so a lot of the schools were telling us, they didn't see the email and stuff like that. So we give them opportunity. So we have limited spots, but it's first come, first serve, and it's not much limited spots.
That's right. So you're inside your auditorium in Napa using the big stage, and again the emphasis on sometimes the creative arts, the drama, the theater to tell the story. How important is that?
So as I said, I think it's a faceted approach. So we have the skits. So the whole purpose of the skits are to simulate the conditions the students would encounter in the schools.
And the students who are doing
right,
these
so
skits,
the students
speaking their language.
Right, speaking directly to them. Additionally, what we observe, what we kind of tweak with the skits is that upon conclusion of the skits, we have the students themselves explain to the students what is the message they were trying to convey, and also the characters and stuff like that. So it's not just the students seeing a skit and they laughing and it's entertainment. They also explain to them what the message they were trying to convey.
Who are some of the other speakers? What's the format really? Because I know the creative part always taps directly into the mind and the hearts of the young people. But I know there are other people who will go up there and share. And is there any kind of panel discussion? You know, using multimedia screens. What's the experience for those in the audience?
Right. So aside from the skits, we balance it off by having qualified speakers. So this year we have Miss Jenna Julian. Right. So she is. She has a master's degree in family therapy from the Palm Beach Atlantic University. And basically the theme of the year is, the theme of this conference is we're going back to the fundamentals, getting to the root of it, bullying identification and prevention. So we're going to go through, like, with the students, what is bullying, the types of bullying. So, you know, like bullying is an intended attack with the purpose of causing physical, verbal, or emotional harm. There's an imbalance between the bully and the victim. And also is a repeated action over time. So the IIR criteria, intentional, imbalance, and repeated, right? So now that, so again, the students to recognize, because it's a culture change that you're trying to create, and some of these students, a lot of them feel it's a game, it's a joke, and we want to let them know that is, you know, that what they're doing is wrong. So in the audience will be persons who are bullies, and we have persons who are victims of bullies, and we also have like students who are like probably like prefects and stuff like that, or future prefects in the audience as well too. So it's a diverse group of students.
I know so many students carry this burden in silence. Some are so scared to even talk to their parents about it. Are there anybody with that kind of expertise to help that student go over the line and let them know that, listen, you'll be okay?
Right. So with regards to that is same Jenna Julian as well. So we have like a question and answer session afterwards where the students will be allowed to ask questions, and we want to normalize with the students to do not suffer in isolation, to go and seek help. And with, you know, the guidance officers in the school have systems that are in place as well to support the students.
I mean, I'm looking at the screen here right now, and if you could just describe what we're seeing, because again, this is a hub of activity.
So that's the enter in the venue. So that's Kivo. We also utilizing content creators. So Kivo is the host. So they take out pictures before the conference. So those are some of the sponsors. Futopia. This is Dr. Dowlat. He attended the conference, very supportive of it. He's a former principal of NAFS Boys, so he knows me very well from doing the work. Right, and that was Jenna Julian. So that was down in South. Right, and those are some of the snacks that we...
Now, this is a big deal. I think probably, if not one of the biggest, may I say, in Trinidad and probably the region, because let me tell you, to follow out Napa with students and to have that kind of engagement and to have that kind of network and community within the schools. Are we talking here South? You're back in town here for the 13th. Of course, Tobago is also in the conversation.
Yes,
this is tremendous.
So we want to having conversations with the Honorable Farley.
Nice.
To bring it across there. Now, Tobago had it in the past. So what used to happen, Napa in the earlies would have caters for students from secondary school students from northeast, and Tobago used to send a plane, a load of students, right? And then they decided they wanted to have their own conference. So we had it just before COVID in 2019, and it was massive. It had different elements to it. So it had a walk, it had the conference, and it had other engagements as well too. So we having conversations to bring it back across there as well.
As we wrap up, Albert, in the seconds that remain, how can folks find you online, get all the details, and just stay on top of all what you're doing via the Color Splash for this anti-bullying campaign?
So they could find us at Caribbean Color Splash on all our social media platforms. platforms. 296-6934, 296-6934 is the number that you could contact us, caribbeancolorsplash@gmail.com. If you're listening to this, just talk to your school. We invited the majority of the schools, but note that this one caters for schools in North and East. But if you have a really serious situation, we can also make arrangements. But first, I would also like to thank the sponsors, because without them, it cannot happen. So I want to thank Repsol, Restaurant Holdings, Popeyes, Burger King, Little Caesar, B-Mobile. We also have SM Jalil, Futopia, Oasis Water, and of course Caribbean Color Splash. We want to thank also the Ministry of Education, Dr. Dowlat, the principals, the teachers, guidance officers, social workers, and all the Color Splash team, of course.
Yeah, but all the best, man. Congrats
Thank you
again.
very much for having me.
For sure. God spare and back for more tomorrow. Have yourselves a great one, TNT.
Yes, sir.
All the best.
Yeah, thanks, sir.
You're watching CNC3.